Tell you another guy I know that was up late, and that's Scott Tabor. He's going to talk some baseball with us, but Scott's as big a basketball fan as there is. Scott, how was it at your house, your compound last night as y'all watched the Sweet 16?
It was loud. We had some kids over here, and my sister's in town, and we were all hooting and hollering and screaming and not even having to throw anything at the television except on a few bad calls.
So it's fun. I mean, it's been so long. We've gotten so used to this in baseball, which is where our conversations normally begin and end, is talking about baseball. But it's been so long since we've had sustained success, and it's a couple of years in the Elite Eight. But you were around. You remember what it was like not only in Nolan's heyday, but you can go back to Eddie Sutton and the times that he had and got his team to the Final Four. You've got to appreciate it in the moment because we've lived for a long time without, we know from 96 till last year, even in the Sweet 16, what's happening right now is pretty special and not the norm, even though kind of it feels like the norm right now.
It is special, and it's hard to appreciate it until you don't have it anymore. So everybody needs to appreciate what we have because back in the day, it was just you expected it, these things to happen every year, and you were just seeing who your draw was. So it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, so one thing you kind of expect is Razorback baseball to be competitive, be there at the end, College World Series, all of those things. Off to the right start. Now, this schedule, you kind of got to pace yourself a little bit, I guess, with expectations, Scott, because you start out with 2 Eastern Division opponents. Last week, Arkansas took care of Kentucky at home. Tell us about Missouri this week. It's kind of a kind of ramping up into SEC, particularly Western Division teams that will begin next week.
You can't really lay down on anybody. It doesn't matter what Missouri's record is, how they did last week against whoever they played. Every team has dudes. They're going to have some studs on the mound because there's so many great arms all the way through the conference. If you look around some of the statistics and some of the velocities and the spin rates and all the other metrics that they use anymore, you're just going to have to battle your way through the first couple of guys and hope you can get into the bullpen. And that's something that Arkansas this year, for the first time in a pretty good while, we've got 3 starters that are kind of pulling their weight. They're all getting into the 5th, 6th inning. Hopefully if everything goes well, get up into the 7th inning, and then you're not taxing your bullpen so much because we don't have the cops at the end of the game to know we can come in and get out of a jam. Yeah. So it's kind of a pleasant surprise to have 3 guys. I think Hagen Smith, boy, he just slipped right in there, as a freshman and is really, really doing a good job.
Yeah, so let's go through the 3 guys. Connor Nolan, Hagen Smith, Jackson Wiggins, all with ERAs in the low 3s right now, all with innings in the upper 20s, 26 to 29 innings right now. You look at their earned run numbers, you look at the hits they're giving up, the walks to strikeouts, all right where you'd want them to be. What stood out to you with each of those 3 starters so far through not just one weekend of SEC play, but what you saw leading up to the beginning of SEC play last week?
Well, they all kind of started off a little bit slow, which is normal. As you get into the season, throwing against air in a bullpen versus throwing against a hitter with a bat, it's like shooting. No, never mind. It's a little bit different deal. Mm-hmm. But it's the fact that they're grinding. They're getting a little bit of a problem and they're getting their way out of it, and then the coaching staff is getting more and more confidence in them, and that's a huge thing. We talk about it every year. Does a coach trust what he's putting out there? And they trust what they're putting out there, knowing that even if they start off slow, because Nolan, if he can get through his first inning, he's always had trouble in his first inning. Don't know why. He seems like he's kind of fixed that the last couple of outings. Wiggins the same way. Once they get by there, they're a little bit stronger. They've got enough pitches that they don't have to. Once through the lineup, the second time through the lineup, they can pitch backwards in the count and throw some other stuff at them. So they're good to go. And so it's the fact that they're actually starting to pitch a little bit rather than just getting up and throwing it. Hagen Smith needs to cut down on some of his walks. He's a freshman. I set a school record my freshman year for walks. Yes, I tried. I'm a record holder. I was too dumb to know that was a bad thing. But he'll learn that as he goes along. About halfway through the season, he won't be a freshman anymore. But he's got some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, we're starting to see the veteran players at the plate show up and show out. Robert Moore last weekend was huge, Scott.
Right. Yep. Brady Slavens, I think, is kind of the key to coming back and becoming a force in this lineup. He'll be that extra jolt that we need. Somebody who can go yard at any time. He needs to work on the mental part of the game. I think he's pressing a little bit because he's got new guys that have stepped up in front of him. You know, you've got Turner and Lanzilli that have come in as transfers, and even Stovall, you know, has started really hitting the ball like they thought he would. Robert Moore, you know, Caden Wallace, both of those guys, I think, are going to just get better and better and better. Hitting is a streaky thing. You know, that's why they have a batting average and not a one-game season. So they'll have their times where you won't be able to get them out. And so you know that's coming. They're just great hitters. And I tell you, it's like in basketball. Our basketball team thrives on defense. I think this baseball team is going to end up leaning on their pitching staff. I look down through the roster and through the stats. You know, you have looking at some of the pitchers' stats. There's a lot of pitchers that have zeros, which is what you want on your stat sheet. You want a lot of zeros, and it's fantastic to see. I think Vermillion, when he gets back, he starts cutting back on his walks when he comes in, is really, really going to be a key pitcher for us because he's got the stuff to come in and shut people down.
Start of 3 games at Missouri tonight, 6 o'clock tonight, 2 o'clock on Saturday, a 1 p.m. first pitch on Sunday. All of these games are precious. I mean, you stop and think about it. Second series, you'll be 20% of the way through your league games. And if Arkansas can be off to a 6-0 start, that's kind of the cushion you need before you go into Mississippi State, followed up by a trip to Florida, followed up by LSU coming to your park. I mean, you got 3 tough weekends following this Missouri, which you can't look past at all, but Arkansas should be off to at least a 5-1 start in SEC play if all goes well.
Well, you know, if they can get a sweep the second weekend, you know, a win's a win's a win. It doesn't matter if it's a win in the beginning of the season, win at the end. It's a W and L's. And so, if they can start off conference play with 6 wins, it just helps later on give you a little bit of a pad. So I think they can get it done. You know, take those strikes.
All right. Well, Scott, we look forward to more visits. I know basketball's front and center right now, and I know y'all are just as excited there in Mountain Home about the Hogs and Duke on Saturday as the rest of us. So we'll talk next week and get ready for a big weekend with Mississippi State, man.
You bet. I've already got my place saved on the couch for Saturday night. Go Hogs.
Well, save me a spot. I'll talk soon to you. All right, Scott Tabor, former Razorback, and joins us here this morning.
It's that time of year as college basketball takes center stage with the tournament finally upon us. If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest, where you can have a chance to take home the top prize. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, where the game starts.